Welcome back, everybody. It's Tuesday, so you know what that means. We've got another money move. So we've gotten a lot of good feedback on some of the videos lately. We've been pushing them out there to different, obviously podcast formats, things like that. So this is good because what that means is you're learning. So I'm your host, John Cleaver, with the other host with the most, Miss Wendy Lee. Say hello, Wendy.
Hello. Happy Tuesday.
Good deal. Well, we've got some exciting stuff for you today, and really looking and asking the question, are you where you thought you would be today at this point in your life financially? And for most of us, the answer is no. So we're actually going to take a look at that and start to really kind of dig in on what's holding you back from financial success. And it may be a little more surprising and simple than you think. We'll get started here in just a few seconds. So we're back, and I want to talk about that. I mean, I know, you look at where you thought you would be, going back to 18, 19 years old, and you look at, okay, when I'm 30 or 40 or 50, and we talk to a lot of younger people, right, that, they're under the impression, oh, I'm retiring at age 50. And I just kind of smile.
One of those people.
What's that?
I was one of those people.
Yeah, I was never that, but I thought I'd retire a lot sooner with a lot more. But it's one of those things that people don't understand why they're not there. So they kind of fall into this rut and they just kind of head in the sand or whatever you want to call it. So, ask yourself that question. Are you where you thought you would be at this point financially? And we're going to talk about today, what's holding you back from financial success? I mean, you see people you work with, or maybe others, from church or whatever. It's like, man, I'm just as good or better than they are. Why are they winning and I'm not? And there's some basic wiring, some basic programming that we're going to talk, some cornerstones, if you will, on really what's going on and could possibly going on with your money as well. That's kind of holding you back. So we're going to look at 4 things today that are really, in my opinion, fairly simple, but they are the major stumbling stones of what's going on or what's holding you back. And that first one is, lack of clear financial objectives, right? Where are you going? Most people have zero clue where they're going. We talk to a lot of people on financial planning. It's like, you look at, it's not about living on the investments, living on the income creating from those assets or investments, right? So what do you want to make in a monthly income when you retire? 9 times out of 10, when you get deer in the headlights look, right? I know You've seen this, Wendy. It's kind of crazy. So let's talk about that a little bit. What do we mean when we talk about clear financial objectives?
Yeah. I mean, I know for me, I thought prior to working with you, like, oh, I just need like $1 million in a retirement account. That's what I've heard through my life. You just need to save up $1 million that you can live off of, and never was educated on inflation or, what do you do with that $1 million? Where is it? Are you living off the interest? Are you drawing from it? There was no plan, even with financial planners, even with people that I talked to and, would walk me through their plan. It was always just, how much can you put away? Here's where we can put it. Never was it, here's where I want to get to. Here's the steps over the next several years to get you there. And that's one thing that blew my mind, and what I felt like was so empowering when I got my financial plan from Turning Point Group for the first time was, oh, wait, here's where I want to be. Here's where I am today. I can't do everything starting today. I can't put away the money I need to today to get to there. But if I do this, and then in 3 years, step it up to this, and 3 years, step it up to this, then I have a plan to get there.
Yeah, and that's the key, that step up, right? Most people, they say, okay, well, I'm 40, you should be putting away $2,000 a month. Well, I can't do that, so I'm not going to do anything. And then you go into denial mode, stick your head in the sand, and it'll work itself out, right? Well, it doesn't just work itself out. And Father Time is coming for you, whether you want to admit it or not, right? So that's why it's key to get a realistic financial plan and something that you can step into And understand, folks, that you may not be able to start where you need to start to hit the magical million or whatever the case may be. And I'm just a little simple math for you. If you follow the theory of I'm going to live on the interest alone, right? And you have $1 million in the market, I don't care what your 401k is doing today. When you keep your money in the market going into retirement, they put you in very conservative, low risk accounts, right? In funds and things like that. And what does that mean? Well, low risk means low reward, right? Look at your savings account, just saying. So that means you're making, maybe 4% if you're lucky. They're going to charge you a point. Let's not forget about inflation, which is sitting at a little over 5 right now. So that's when you go into spin down mode, which is why most people, their biggest fear in retirement is outliving their money, which you've got to plan for, right? So again, not to walk down that rabbit hole, but looking at that clear financial goals. What do you want your retirement to look like? Do you want to travel? Do you want to have a nice little cabin in the woods? What do you want to do? And start working on that goal today, and understand that that's going to cost money. You've got to take into account into inflation, which means it's going to cost even more money than it does today. And you've got to build for all that, which you can. Don't go into panic mode, but it's so obvious that if you don't have a financial plan, you're just hoping it all works out. I mean, think of it like this. I use this analogy sometimes. Let's say you're going to Disney World with the family down in Florida, right? And you're in, Missouri. Are you just going to load up the minivan and start driving in that direction and hope it all works out and hope you eventually get there? Well, I know Disneyland is in front of a road, or Disney World is in front of a road. So we just get on our road in front of our house and we'll get there. No, of course not. You're going to map it out. What routes are you taking? When are you taking? Are we driving? Are we flying? Because if I drive and gas is X, it's going to cost just as. So you look at all these things, but yet we don't spend hardly any time planning out our future retirement, which is going to be, hopefully 20, 25 years. And so that's really the kind of that epiphany, that light bulb, is have some clear financial goals, have some baseline goals, and then have some clear goals on, deep dive. What do you want it to look like? So that's number one. Number two is, okay, now I've got a goal. How do I get there? I'm making money, but I can't seem to save any. Okay, I'm making money, but I don't have any left over at the end of the month to save. Have you heard that before, Wendy, from people?
Every day. Yeah. So, especially in today's economy, right?
It's called priorities, folks.
Mm-hmm.
It's called priorities. The most important person in your life is who? You. Pay yourself first, right? Stop trying to live on what's left. But, we've got bills and the things like that. And I'm not saying don't pay your bills, but we have that immediate mindset, right? That immediate gratification. I can afford X per month. So we rack up credit cards, paying high interest and things like that. So you look at, how can I be intentional with every dollar that I have coming in? And what's the answer, Wendy?
You got to tell your money what to do. Got to create that spending plan.
Got to create that spending plan, right? And I know most people are like, oh man, is he talking about a budget? Hey, get over it. You can either have kids and not tell them what to do and hope it all works out, right? Same thing with your money. You can make a lot of money and hope it all works out. If you're planning that route, in most cases it doesn't. And a lot of people just throw money in their 401k and that'll be enough. I'll get that million. I'm gonna tell you right now, $1 million is not the number, folks. It's way more than that, and that's why you need a plan. But being intentional with every dollar you have coming in. We talked about this in a video not too long ago. I mean, just $15 a day, right? I think it was $15 or maybe 13 and some change. That's easy to spend. You go to McDonald's and buy a coffee a day, or go out to lunch at work and buy a coffee a day. That's over that, right? Yeah. You put that money away instead of going out, you brown bag it or whatever, and it was like $5,000 for the year, compounded annually. It was like $250,000. But most people have no clue where their money's going because they're too lazy, and I'll say it, they're too lazy to get a spending plan in place. And it's not as difficult as you think. And it's easy to maintain. It's a pain in the butt to set it up, I'm not going to lie. But once you get there and build in that discipline with your money, guess what? You're becoming financially free, right? And we have a great website that we partner with called moneypatrol.com. They've got a fantastic software. And best of all, it's my favorite price, which is what? Free, right? And they have some upgraded versions, but even if you upgrade, I think the highest version is like $80 a year, not a month, a year. But unless you're being intentional with every money, you're going to need to come up with a big chunk down the chain. So if you people that are late 20s, early 30s, guess what? You can just save a little bit today over the course of your working career and have a nice, huge nest egg. Get the financial plan in place, get the spending plan in place to make sure you're making that happen, paying yourself first. Guess what? You're going to be good. Okay. But a lot of you are still bucking it, and you're probably tuned out now saying, oh, I'm not doing a spending plan. And why is that? Why is that, Wendy? Why do people just not do it? Why do they not take action and take control of their financial house?
Poor money mindset. So just beliefs around money, whether it be from growing up or, what you saw modeled or whatever, there's so many things that can influence it. But when you have that poor money mindset, you just can't, if you find yourself in the same situation over and over again, it's because something here has to change. Right. So otherwise we get back in the same habits.
Poor money mindset. Yeah, I was going to call it broke butt mindset, and I was going to use a different word than butt. But yeah, poor money mindset works too. So, and that's the problem, folks. A lot of people, if they're not winning, nobody wants to take ownership and say, well, I'm not winning because it's my fault. I'm not winning because I'm not doing the things to win. And it's not my fault because I wasn't taught about money. None of us were, folks. Get over it. Get over yourself. Stop telling yourself excuses. And realize that people are winning out there because they're taking action and learning, and you can too. You're smart enough. You know what's going on. If you can read a book and talk to some people, you can learn how to do this stuff. It's not complicated stuff, which is what I love. But so many of us just have that broke mindset and that live for today, YOLO. That was a big thing maybe, 10, 12 years ago or something like that. YOLO, baby, you only live once. Live for today, that kind of stuff. And just not good. Right? Not good. And it's one of those things that if you don't take the time to learn it, read a book, right? Most people, once they get out of high school or college, don't read any, growth books. And like the vast majority, read a book, read Robert Kiyosaki. You want to learn about real estate? People are making money in real estate. Read about it. Want to learn about putting money in the market? Learn about it. Right? But you've got to be okay with getting out of that and understanding if you've been in the same financial rut for 10 years, 5 years, guess what? It's not magically going to change.
Yeah.
And you've got to break that money mindset of, okay, let me try some different things and see what happens. Let me learn about getting out of debt and see what happens. How does that make you feel? What does that do with your money? I mean, think about your credit card debt you pay every month, the monthly payments. What would you do? And what would happen if all of a sudden you didn't have that anymore? What would you do with that money? If your first reaction is, man, I'd go party and go buy a boat and stuff like that, that's a broke butt mindset. I almost said it. That's a broke mindset. Especially if you look at, and you don't have the assets. You need to understand what your net worth is. Okay. If your net worth is low, and I'm not talking how much you own, I'm talking net worth, what you own in assets minus what you owe in bills. And most people out there in middle class are in negative net worth. Why? Because they're upside down on everything, because they finance everything, thinking I can do it, and they're living paycheck to paycheck. 78% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, meaning if they miss a paycheck, one paycheck, guess what? Panic mode happens. Okay, and you don't have to be like that. You don't have to be like that. But again, well, that's what everybody else is doing. That's a broke mindset. Break loose. Break loose. I'm rambling, Wendy. What else do you have to add on that?
No, I mean, I want to throw out a book suggestion. You mentioned reading books. The one that helped me the most, and I'm still coming out of elevating my mindset when it comes to money, because it's, when you spend 20 years thinking a certain way, 30 years thinking a certain way, and then have to switch it takes some time sometimes. But Secrets of a Millionaire Mind, that really helped me understand, it digs in the beginning of what your money story is. Right. And I had a certain money story that showed up in my habits of the way I was handling my money. So it's a process to change it, but there's ways to do it. Right. Learning more and
I love it. I love it. Well, and so it's like, okay, well, how do I get out of my broke mindset? Well, you got to start taking action. But how did I get my broke mindset? And that comes from number 4, right? The other thing that's holding you back from your financial success is probably your sphere of influence, your circle of friends and family, right? And I'm talking about family too. Because sometimes old mom or dad or that spouse, you think they're trying to be nice and help you, and really what they're doing is holding you back. Okay. And I'm talking holding you back from financial success. I'm talking about holding you back from growth and pain, right? Because you need pain to grow, you need frustration to grow, but you've got to realize that there's a brighter, bigger world out there.
Yeah.
And if you're not a part of it, if your friends aren't lifting you up, right? If your girls' night out is going out and trashing the one girl that's not there with you that night, that's not the people you want to be with, right? Because when you're not there at the event, guess what? They're doing the same thing with you. And guys, it's the same for you on the golf round, right? And so if that's the crew that you're hanging with, that's not the crew you want to be with. If you're not having conversations about how can I increase my wealth, and I'm not talking every day. We all talk about the game. We just had the baseball College World Series going on. Congratulations to another SEC team. That's 5 years in a row. SEC's won that, by the way. Just throwing that out there. It wasn't my SEC team, but it was a good second. You look at what that mindset is and what changes need to happen for that. And when you realize that, and we had a conversation with a friend not too long ago that's actually starting to realize, oh my gosh, I think it's my significant other's kind of holding me back a little bit. You need to have those conversations, not to need to start cutting ties and stuff like that, but go find new circle of friends to be around. Yeah. Go find other people to spend your time with, right? Because John Maxwell said it best, right? You're an average of the 5 people that you hang out with. You all make the same amount of money. You all have the same kind of house, same group of friends. You're probably doing the same kind of work. You probably vote for the same political party. Okay. If you want to change that, ain't nobody can do it but you, right? So you need to be intentional about that, like we talked about earlier. So go ahead, Wendy. I'm sorry. I'm just fired up about this stuff.
No, you're good. I mean, you basically cover it, but I mean, it's so funny to me. The biggest thing a shift that I saw in my life is when I moved from a corporate 9-to-5 gig, climbing the corporate ladder, to entrepreneurship. And I never read books. When I graduated high school, I never read a book again until I became an entrepreneur. And now I've at least read 300 books since becoming an entrepreneur. And it's funny because I forget that so many people are still stuck in that I just live my life every day the same. It's like Groundhog's Day for most people, and they're not continually growing and evolving. And the biggest thing that changed that for me is I hung around with people that were more successful than I was, right? My very first experience as an entrepreneur, I aligned myself with somebody that was making 6 figures a month and leading a team of thousands. And when I did that, my whole mindset shifted, right? About like what life's about and what you can accomplish. And when you're around people, I would say don't be the coolest person of the 5 that you hang out with, right? Like make sure
I don't ever want to be the smartest person in the room.
Exactly, right? Put yourself around people that are going to challenge you and stretch your thinking. And I mean, even just, listening, I listened to Rich Dad Poor Dad on a business trip that I took years ago. And even just listening to that book, your mind just changes so much and it opens up possibility. And that's what you've got to do with your circle. If you have the people that are constantly pulling you down and holding you back, you're never going to grow. You've got to find, and when they are family, it is difficult, right? There are different boundaries though that you can set and add more of the influence to pull you forward, increase that energy, that vibration.
Well, that's the thing, right? We all get around our crew and we're all like, oh, I've made it. And once you start, I've made it, you've got that mindset of I've made it. Then you start changing into Mr. Good Enough, right? Or Miss Good Enough. And that person sucks. I'm going to tell you that right now. That's the one that's going to hold you back. Well, I'm doing good, compared to my peers. I'm getting that promotion, or, I look at people in my neighborhood and I've got the nicest lawn and stuff like that. Okay, Mr. Good Enough. Just stay there. Stay that status quo and start living for the weekend, right? I think they even wrote a song about that. Maybe, I don't know. But when you start getting in that mindset, and not that you need to be all work and no play, but you need to realize you've got to, again, going back to like having a financial plan, have a plan for your life. What do you want your life to look like? Because it can literally look like anything. And if you're one of those people that, oh, no, it can't, certain groups have certain privileges and you got a broke ass mindset. I'm going to say it. Okay. And you probably have already trashed the video or even turned us off, and that, that's okay. Again, what we're trying to do is wake you up. Okay. It's like the Matrix. We're trying to unplug that thing from the back of your head, telling you can have that lifestyle or, financial life that you want, but you've got to do the work, right? You've got to understand, and don't just start going. Find a plan, right? What do you want it to look like? What do I need to do there? Get that spending plan, right? Start surrounding yourself with the right people that can help you through that mindset. They're not going to do the work for you. But I've been fortunate, just like Wendy was talking about, I've been fortunate that, I started talking to people that were doing way better than I was, and I started owning it. I got rid of my own ego. I checked my ego at the door and said, hey, what are you doing that I could be doing? And there was a learning curve and there was some work involved. But once you start putting that in play, you start getting those little victories. You start, okay, I like this. I like this. And then the thing is, you start getting your financial house in order, and then turn right around and pay it forward to the next person and show them. Don't do it for them, right? But that's what you need to do, right? Those are the 4 things that are probably holding you back. That's what we see time and time again. It's not the fact that, oh, I don't have the right job, or da, 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 or I don't have the right. Yeah, we're all in that same situation, right? I have yet to meet anybody that said, you know what? I've got enough money, John. I don't need any more. I don't want to make any more. Man, I just wish my paychecks would stop coming in. Have yet to have that conversation, right, folks? So we're all in the same boat on this. I don't know anything about finances. Guess what? Neither did I. Neither did Wendy. But we figured it out, right? And started reading, right? So again, kind of recap. Lack of a clear financial goal. You don't know where you're going. Fix it. Figure it out. And you'll adjust it along the way. That's okay. Number 2, get a spending plan in place. Use that moneypatrol.com or whatever you want to use, but start being intentional with every dollar that comes in your hands. You need to have a job for it to do. And its number 1 job would be to go out and make you another dollar or 2. Not you, but have your money making the money for you. Okay. Number 3, lose that broke mindset. Okay. Start shifting. You can do it. You are smart enough. You have the capability. You may need to change some things, right? If you're walking around talking and dressing like a thug, you may need to change that a little bit, right? If you're sleeping in until 10, 11 o'clock every morning, you may need to change that. If you're killing it on PS5, every night for 3 or 4 hours, you may need to change that. But if you want to change, you can, right? And then the last one is ask yourself, why do I have that broke mindset? Are the people around me influencing me? Are they holding me back? Not intentionally. It may be mom telling me, hey, it's okay. Just stay in the basement. You're more than fine. You don't have to worry about it, right? Is that the life you want to live? No, of course not. So go out, do something about it. A little alarm one a day. But again, there's so much opportunity right now. Even with the economy as shaky as it is right now, there is a ton of stuff that you could be doing to set yourself up financially. So hopefully that helped today. Again, Wendy, thank you for being here with us. And we'll see you next Tuesday for another Money Moves.
All right.
Bye-bye.